Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Jacob and Jacob podcast. Today we are honored to be joined by a very special guest, Wayne Kimmel. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here. I mean, the Jacob and Jacob show, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Wayne is a venture capitalist, entrepreneur, author, and an avid Maryland fan. So let's get right into it. Begin by telling us about what you do and what your company is.
Well, once again, thanks for having me. This is really an honor to be on your show. I've been watching all your podcasts.
Thank
I
you.
think it's so awesome that you've been doing this. So I'm thrilled to do this. And, it's great that we're talking sports, and that's what we do at 76 Capital. We invest in companies in the sports industry. But most importantly, what we do is we invest in the people behind those companies. So we want to invest in people that are really passionate about what they do, that they are smart, that they're nice people, and they want to do really big things to change the world and build game-changing businesses. So within the companies we invest in companies that are creating new things around sports tech and sports technology. We do new things around the world of eSports. I know we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah.
But also we get involved in companies that are doing the next thing in the sports betting industry. And that's really exciting as well.
So, Wayne, you said that you were involved in eSports. So tell us a little bit about eSports and kind of just what it is.
Well, eSports is wild. It's really incredible to see what's happened with this. It's this world where it's a world of competitive video gaming. It's two people playing. In some cases, it's one-on-one people playing video games against each other. And other times, it's teams of people playing against each other. So depending on what the game is, some of the games like Overwatch, it's a 6-on-6 game, right? Where one team's playing against another. You have other games like Call of Duty, League of Legends, which is a 5-on-5 game. You have Fortnite, where you could play with a group of your group or your pack, right? Where you could play one against the rest of the whole board out there, right? I mean, so it's really exciting to see what's happened in this world of esports, and and it's just been super exciting to be involved in that and invest in the companies and the people that are behind what's going on with that industry today.
Thank you. Yes. So sort of follow up on that. Esports recently has been growing in the past 5 years and even a little bit beyond that. And also during the pandemic with the coronavirus, it's sort of been the only real type of sports that's been able to be on TV. So what type of growth have you seen over the past 5 years with esports?
Well, we started getting involved and learning about this world about, as you said, about 4 or 5 years ago, and started to see this happening, starting to see a couple things that have happened, right? So number one, we started seeing the fact that colleges were offering scholarships to kids to play on an esports team, just like you see where someone is really great at basketball or football or baseball and they get a scholarship to play at college. So now there's over 200 colleges and universities that offer scholarships for kids to play different esports games. So that's one thing that we've seen, this incredible growth. The other thing that we've seen that's really amazing is all these superstars that are streaming, whether that's on Twitch, on Mixer, or on YouTube. So you're seeing incredible, growth of that. You're seeing also the fact that you have professionals that are making millions of dollars playing video games right now. And then, look, we're all here in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania area, and that's where the kid, won the $3 million. He's from here, who won $3 million on Fortnite. So it's incredible what's been happening in the industry, and it's been really exciting to be part of it all.
So, Wayne, tell us about some of the partnerships that you develop with people in the sports world and in the esports world too.
Sure. So, one of the things that we do at 76 Capital is we have something called our Athlete Venture Group. And what that is it allows us to work with athletes so that they have an opportunity to invest with us, work with us, learn from us, We learn from them a lot of different things. It allows us to work with great athletes. So we've had guys like Brian Westbrook and Ryan Howard and DeMarco Murray and Ralph Sampson, who are part of our, been part of our athlete venture group. At the same time, we also work with a number of other athletes to try to get them involved with some of the businesses we get involved with. And I'll talk about that in a second. But one of the big things that we've learned at 76 Capital from the athletes themselves is how incredibly hard it is, and as we all know, to make it to the pros. But what's really interesting is the mindset of an athlete, which is very similar to a mindset that you want to have to be a great student, a great parent, a great business person. It's all about, just this passion that you need to have. I mean, these athletes have incredible passion. They have the desire, the drive, and many times like the persistence. I mean, these guys get knocked down and they have to get back up, right? I mean, they have to get back up, and they do that. So you think about a Brian Westbrook, he's running the ball, he gets hit, boom, got to get back up and play in the next play. It's the same thing, whether that's in school or in work or in whatever you do. You have to be able to be resilient. You have to be able to just think about what, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Sometimes you don't do well in a test, you'll get them on the next, you'll do well the next time. You're playing a sport, you miss a shot, it's okay. I'll get it the next time. And that's a really big thing that we've learned from these athletes, because they then help some of the CEOs of some of our companies think about that as they grow their companies. So one of the great partnerships that we've had in the esports world has been with our company, Nerd Street Gamers, and these are our guys, the Nerd Street Gamer guys, and it's a company that is actually one of the leaders in esports, and it's a Philadelphia-based company that we've invested in with Comcast and Five Below, the kids retailer. But we brought this company to an NFL player named Emmanuel Sanders. You guys know Emmanuel, right?
Yeah, New Orleans Saints receiver.
So now he's at the New Orleans Saints, exactly. But it started when he was with the Denver Broncos, because we built an esports facility in Denver, and he is a big gamer. His game is Apex, and it's kind of similar to Fortnite, but that's what he loves to play with his friends, and it's actually the favorite game of the CEO of Nerd Street. So they hit it off to play, and they would actually, when Emmanuel was playing with the Broncos, they had a Monday night game, and they finished the game, and after the game, the CEO of Nerd Street, John Fazio, and Emmanuel, they got right on, that night they're playing together, and they got to become friends. And then when he went to play with the 49ers last year, he actually wore Nerd Street Gamer cleats in an NFL game. And he didn't care that the NFL was saying he wasn't supposed to do it, but he did it anyway because he loves the company so much. He works with us. He helps promote Nerd Street. He actually is an investor and partner of ours in the company. So that's a really cool thing. And now with him being down in New Orleans, we'll see how that goes with us. Maybe now he's going to start wearing black and gold. So
yeah. So switching away from esports a little bit, but also another sort of growing thing in the sports world is sports betting, as more states legalize it. Tell us how your company is involved with that.
Well, so it's been really interesting what's happened with the sports betting world. Actually today is May 14th, 2020. It's actually the second anniversary of the fact that now sports betting is legal in the United States. There was a law called PASPA, which stated that you can only place bets in the U.S. in the state of Nevada. That bill, or that law, went to the Supreme Court of the United States, and the Supreme Court overturned and repealed that law on May 10th of 2018, which meant that all of a sudden other states could have legalized sports betting inside of their in their states. And now, as we're sitting here on May 14th of 2020, there are 22 states that have passed laws. There are 2 jurisdictions, Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia, that have also passed laws. So now it's amazing to see this growth with 24 states and jurisdictions that now have legalized sports betting. So we saw this, and one of the first things that we thought about, because as venture capitalists and investors, we always looked, as we talked about earlier, to invest in entrepreneurs and people who want to do the next thing. And so we saw this opportunity of the fact that sports betting was just in Las Vegas for so many years and in Nevada. And now that it's going to go all across the country, there's an opportunity to build companies in and around this industry. And so we've invested in companies all throughout the sports betting industry, whether that's from companies that are collecting data so you can use that data and information to make a more informed wager, whether that's really getting into the analytics side of things. It's one of the things I talk to my son Hunter about all the time, where, you know, all that math and that great stuff that, you know, you learn in school, and that kind of stuff is so relevant in the world of sports betting. If you're able to create algorithms, if you're able to do formulas, if you're able to really make your computer do some amazing things, right? That's the kind of stuff that we need. We need those kind of brains in the sports betting industry. We're also able to have media companies and, you know, and create new companies. I'm sure you guys know Brent Musburger.
Yeah.
The legendary broadcaster, right? And just like you guys, and we started a sports betting only media network where and now you guys can go onto Comcast right now onto your X1 box, and right underneath Netflix you'll see VSiN. It's VSIN. This is our I'm using all my hats here, right? Got the VSiN on the hat, right? And VSiN we have that in over 45 million homes all across the country, and we just started that company a couple of years ago. So it's been really fun. We're doing some really unique things. We have some super, super smart guys that are trying to build what I like to call is the next generation sportsbook. So now you have DraftKings and FanDuel and a number of those other groups, but we're going to build something that hopefully is going to be even more innovative and even more exciting for people in the future. So it's really, really fun to be in this industry. And you know what's so cool about all of this, whether it's eSports or sports betting or the sports tech world, it's all about sports. It's the stuff that we all love.
Yeah. That'd be awesome if you make fantasy football any better than it is.
Well, we're working on some really cool things.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting to see what gets developed and what comes out.
But what it all comes down to, guys, is it's about your imagination, right? And it's about people kind of thinking about how can we make something better, you know, and not being and quite frankly not being afraid and going for it and trying to make things happen in life and you know, I always tell people all the time that, you know, like if you have an idea and people are calling you and your idea crazy, that means you're moving in the right direction, because everyone else doesn't understand what you're thinking about. So if you guys ever have ideas in and around sports and you think of how you want to make sports better, we love that stuff. I'll show you. I want to share something with you guys. So right as an example, one of those things that you just can't even believe, like this just looks like a regular baseball, right?
Yeah.
Well, this baseball actually has probably as much technology in it as some computers. So just by going like this, just like flipping this ball, it starts the ball up and has the technology inside now starts up. And if I throw this ball across the room, and I don't think Kimby wants me to do that, so I won't break it in here. But it'll tell on my phone. It'll tell me how fast this ball was going. It'll tell me how many rotations it had. It'll show me my arm location as to where I released it. And these balls are being used all the way through from youth baseball, from Little League, all the way up through the major leagues. And what's really cool is watching, you know, this is one of our companies called Diamond Kinetics that has this. And what's really cool about this is that you have players down in the Dominican Republic, and instead of having to have a scout there with a radar gun timing and seeing how fast they're throwing, these balls, just by throwing the ball will automatically send the information will get sent automatically back to a major league club or scout or someone who's looking at somebody anywhere in the world. It's really, really cool stuff that's happening. And these are the kind of, this is the kind of stuff that we like to invest in. These are the kind of people. And this was created by a guy who, he wanted to do something in baseball, and he thought about what could be next in baseball.
Yeah, and one thing that I've seen with hockey is and not even just hockey, other sports, they've started using like trackers.
Yeah, shot tracker.
In games. I saw they used it in the All-Star game. Do you think that you could potentially see them being used in real games in the future and across all sports?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, Jacob, you just mentioned it. One of our companies is called Shot Tracker, and we actually have had a number of conversations, and we've talked to the NHL about what we do. But right now we're focused on the college basketball. And we've been able to put a sensor, just like there's a sensor in this baseball, you're able to put a sensor inside of a basketball. And we've done the Mountain West games. This year, you're going to see us in the Big Ten and the ACC as well. Hopefully, we're going to have sports come back, right? It's really incredible to see how we're able to track over 110 movements a second that a basketball player makes on the court. And that data, right? All that information, we were talking about this earlier, all that information then gets passed over to, other people in our company that are able to analyze that data. Again, it's good to know math, right? So they analyze all this information, and then they provide this information to coaches. So coaches on the bench have iPads, and this information then shows up, and it's able to show like who, what's the best five that could match up against the other five that are on the court. Similar things can happen within hockey, where you have, what line should match up with what line, because you have so much data and information. And then what's also really cool is this information also can be used by broadcasters. So that you're getting, up to the second real time information and data that a broadcaster can add into their broadcast, because especially with what's happening now, like if we have sports where we don't have fans in the stands, they're going to want to make this. I had a conversation just yesterday with Major League Baseball about this. They're trying to bring the ballpark experience. They're hoping that we get baseball this year, and that if we do, they want to bring the ballpark experience to the fan at home, giving them the jumbotron, being able to give them stats and information, and maybe not get the smell of popcorn or something like that, or hot dogs, but like they're going to try to make that. And that's where this kind of technology enables you to have an even more of a really cool experience. And then the other part of it is, which has also happened since, as we were talking about the repeal of PASPA, that same data and information can be passed on to sports books. And what's really cool about that is you could place a bet on whether someone is going to make a 3-point shot or not. And you have enough information and time, because it takes about 2.5 seconds for a 3-pointer in the NBA to leave someone's hand, or in college. And from the time it leaves their hand until it goes in, that's about a 2.5 second path to the basket. And you can actually bet if that's going to go in or not, using all this data. And then also be able to, as a bookmaker, be able to set the line, because they'll know, because you'll have I'm using a baseball as a basketball, but they'll have the basically the information, because we know the minute the ball leaves the hand of a shooter, if it's going to go in, it's about 99.9% we'll know, because of the path of the ball. It's pretty incredible to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
also, I'm going to just mention, what's cool about that. What's really also interesting, I'm sorry for interrupting, Jacob, but that technology and that being able to figure that out is math, but it's a second big piece of it. It's also from the military, because the military's been able to, as I've traveled to Israel, and with your dad and all this, we've done some, you see like how you're able to track missiles coming in or going out, and that's the same sort of technology that's used to tell if a shot's going to go in or not.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty revolutionary. And also, the baseball that you showed us earlier, do you think the MLB would ever consider implementing that into a game and using?
So I'll tell you something really, really incredible. So the MLB has already said that, first of all, I believe they will eventually have a ball like that, but they've already said that you can put a sensor in a bat. And the same company, Diamond Kinetics, we have this sensor. I'll get it ready here so we can get it going. I try to. Oh, it may not be charged because of COVID, but anyway, this sensor goes in the handle of a baseball bat, and this is the same company that makes the ball, and this sensor can track the path of your swing and everything about your swing as a baseball player, and it is legal through all the way from single A all the way through triple A in minor league baseball. So last year, many of the teams like the Yankees and the Cubs and other teams used this sensor all through the minor leagues, and they were able to track every single swing that one of their players had. The players made all through the year. And also the major, and one of the big things is also for both this sensor, the ball, as well as the sensor, they're both used by all the major college baseball and college softball. I don't have softball with me, but all the softball programs as well use this technology. And this is used all the way down into the little leagues as well. So one of the things that we're doing right now with USA Baseball and a number of the different baseball organizations, including Major League's been involved with us with this, as well as Easton, the bat company, and Dick's, the sporting goods. We have something called Play at Home. And we've been using this hashtag Play at Home all during COVID. And it has to do with, and you'll start to see this on Instagram and all over the internet, where you use the sensor, and when you take swings and when you hit the ball off a tee, it can tell you how far the ball went, if it would be a home run, if it would be a double or a triple or whatever. And we're doing some really cool games working with some former Major League Baseball players like Ryan Howard that are doing things with this right now. So it's pretty cool to see what's happening with technology in sports. And you guys are right on and thinking about this. Will it ever happen? The answer is most likely yes.
And how recently was this technology sort of implemented into sports?
Jacob, it's a great question. This is all within the last couple of years. I mean, a lot of technology. Remember what you start to hear when you hear about analytics, right?
Yeah.
You hear that, is it analytics or is it what you see from the eye or whatever, like that? All that has really started this revolution of allowing technology to come into sports. And people are starting to realize that using this data and information can actually really be helpful, not only just for the people that are crunching numbers, but can actually help you win games. So that's where this has been happening. So over the last couple of years, it's started to become more and more mainstream. But what's happened is that it's really come down to entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial companies that have pushed the limits within sports. It also has to do with the commissioners of these different leagues, as well as the NCAA. I mean, the NCAA gave us a waiver to enable us at Shot Tracker to have iPads on the bench, because that was illegal. But now you can have that with certain teams and certain conferences. So that's been really cool. I mean, one of the things which unfortunately we didn't get to have happen because we didn't get to have the NCAA tournament this year, and things were really going crazy. But the whole Mountain West, all the Mountain West games this year in college basketball were Shot Tracker enabled, and that whole conference tournament was as well. And they were able to complete that. And there was a moment in time when we weren't going to have any fans, and we were going to have March Madness. Remember that?
Yeah, that hour.
Feels like it was forever ago.
Yeah,
it feels like forever ago, right? And you know what? It was a few hours, Jacob, where and I'm probably not even allowed to say this, but I'll say all those major networks, okay, the major networks that use that broadcast the NCAA tournament were in conversations with Shot Tracker about using their technology to enable a better fan experience, because there wouldn't be fans there, and enabling getting more information. So we've done some really cool games over the years. I mean, this company, Shot Tracker, we're investors with in that company with David Stern, unfortunately who passed away, former commissioner of the NBA, as well as Magic Johnson's involved with us. And we've had some really amazing things. I mean, I'll never forget one of the first big games we ever did was Michigan State, where Magic Johnson went, versus Ohio State. And it was a Shot Tracker enabled game. It was on CBS. Clark Kellogg was doing the game, and you could see all this new information and data flying around on the screen. And you could see that, this one guy was making, over 50% of his shots on the right side of the court, but not on the left side. And, you were able to see, again, like who are the best players that should be on the court? How many times does a team bring down the ball on the left side versus the right side, and why that matters, and all this data and information that was being fed to coaches. It really was incredible to see.
So you talked about Magic Johnson earlier, and you talked about a few other athletes earlier. Why do you think it's important for athletes to get involved in entrepreneurship, either during their careers or after their careers?
I think it's a really another excellent question, Jacob. I mean, so I think the one thing that we believe, and I'll really sort of give you my feeling and why what we do at 76 Capital, why we think it's important to have athletes involved. First of all, we're involved with them because if we're investing in sports, I want to have an expert. And I think you can't get any better than having one of the top tier athletes, put their hands on this ball. Does this feel right? Does this feel like a real major league ball? So it's those kinds of things. And I think that, and why do I think it's good for them? It's good for them because it gives them the opportunity to be an expert, right? And not have to, the thing is that if you're a professional athlete, for the most part, your career's over if you're lucky when you're 30, if you're really lucky. Like sometimes these professional athletes, they're done at 25.
Yeah.
Like they're done. Some of them are done after like a training camp or something like that. I mean, it's rough. It's really rough to see how that happens. So, the opportunity, just the opportunity for you to be able to have experience in something as an athlete and be able to help guys like me in our investments, I think gives them a lot of confidence and allows them to do some really cool things. So we love having them involved. And many times, they really enjoy it as well because they get to show what they know. I mean, I got to tell you, like last year, I mean, I showed you this USA baseball thing. So I got this opportunity, and I know one of your boys, didn't he go to school down at IMG Academy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Michael.
So Michael, right. So I got an opportunity last year to go down to the IMG Academy. We stayed over there in the hotel on the campus, and it was called the player development. It was the PDP, they call it, Player Development Program for USA Baseball. And you should have seen these kids. Like, they were incredible. They were like your age, and they're some of the best baseball players in high school. And they were divided up on different teams. Derek Jeter had a team. You had he was there. You had Barry Larkin had a team. Ryan Howard had a team. It was amazing to see like what was going on down there. And they divided all these guys up. You had Fred McGriff. Do you guys remember that name?
Yeah.
He was a. They called him. You know what his nickname was? They called him the crime dog. This guy was a first baseman. I mean, it was incredible to see him, and he was in incredible shape. Played with the Blue Jays for a while, and you had a number of other. Andy Pettit was also there. That was cool, right? That lefty
pitcher,
hell of a pitcher, right? And it was really, really cool to see them, because each one of their bats had a sensor in it. And they used the balls, and they were able to use these balls in bullpen. But to see this high level talent, and see where these kids, what they're doing was really an incredible experience.
Thank you. So one last question before we finish here. Sort of back about esports, and also I guess we can talk about the technology and sports too. What do you see for the future of esports as well as sports technology? And also recently with the coronavirus, we've seen a lot of esports being televised on ESPN and networks similar to that. How do you think it can grow sort of beyond just being televised on those networks? Also more in-person events, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I had to sort of pinch myself when I'm watching the Madden, the Celebrity Madden tournament, which was produced and run by our guys at Nerd Street Gamers. And there was a commercial that came on ESPN about my company. I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
The dream.
It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And so to see esports on TV was a big deal. And as you said, it's also really, really incredible to see how things are moving where, once hopefully we're out of this whole COVID-19 situation, we're able to have even more events where, look, the esports industry, we're just getting going. We're having these events where you're having, millions of people watching people play video games against each other. You're seeing tens of thousands of people coming out to arenas and filling up arenas to watch kids play against each other. So that's really exciting. We're at Nerd Street Gamers, along with Five Below. We're going to be opening up over 100 esports facilities next door to Five Below stores all across the United States. That's our plan. That's really exciting to be able to do this. We want to open up, other types of facilities to enable people to play, because you got to practice in person because if you're going to actually play as a pro, you have to play in person. And that's how this world works. So it's really exciting to see what's happening in the esports world. We also are investors in a company called Maestro, and Maestro is another really cool company. It's a streaming technology platform. And what I mean by that is that, sort of, you look at ESPN at the bottom, there's the bar, and some of their shows, they have things down the sides. So that's similar to what Maestro does, but Maestro puts stuff all over around the whole screen and allows you to get real-time stats. Whether it's an esports game or whether it's a real sports game. They do the same thing with musicians. So we'll do concerts where you're able to, learn more about the artist down the sides. You're able to buy merchandise, whether that's a jersey or whether that's a hat or something like that. You're able to do those kind of things. And with sports games, whether it's an esports game or a traditional sports game, we're going to start integrating sports betting around the screen as well. And polls, and you could say, like, who do you like better, LeBron or Steph, or those kind of things, or who's going to score the next couple, who's going to make the next three, is it going to be Klay Thompson or it'll be Steph? And you can have these interactive games and polls and things happening while you're watching the game. And that's the stuff that's so super exciting, and that's what's so cool, because I love what you guys are doing. I think it's so awesome you're having these things. And I would say that you guys should think about it as well. Like, how do you even do something that no one else is doing? You're already doing this, right? You're doing this right now, but you can take your game to a whole nother level. What are the next things that you can do to totally break the mold, to be the next great broadcaster? As I said, I'm fortunate enough to get to work with a Brent Musburger, but he's 80, turning 81 this summer. There's opportunities for the next guy. You have, your Philly guys, right? So you see someone like Adam Lefko, and Adam Lefko's a Philly kid. He's a Philly kid. He went to he went to play-by-play sports broadcasting camps with Jeremy Treatman and Stephen Goldstein. I mean, like, he started doing stuff just like you guys. And now, he's on Bleacher Report. He's on Turner. He's hanging out with Shaq. He's doing cool stuff all the time, right? So, like, there are opportunities for guys like the two of you to do the next thing, whether that's in broadcasting, whether it's in sports, whether that's thinking about things that no one else has ever done in their life before. And you can go do that. And you can make that happen using the incredible technology, using and the crazy part is just using your laptop, using your mind. and trying to imagine to how you can create things that no one else has thought of, and build. Because one of the things that we're all about at 76 Capital is we say that because there's a huge opportunity to build the Amazon, the Facebook, the Google of sports. And that's the kind of things that we want to invest in, these really opportunities to build the next giant thing within the sports industry. And I got to tell you something else. I got to, fess up. It's really fun. It's really fun.
Well, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you so much for joining us, Wayne. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
You're welcome. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Keep doing these. Keep practicing. Keep doing really well in school. I know how well you guys do. That's really important. And just keep thinking big. Think big. Don't let anybody ever squash your dream. You can do it. You could do the greatest things in the world. And that's the part that's so exciting. And I'm so happy that you're doing this stuff and you're taking advantage of the time that you have right now to do this. And, keep making it happen, man. And make this, you're making this world a better place by doing stuff like this, and keep doing it. And I'm really proud of both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.